CBN's White House correspondent Kelly Wright and Mark Caleb Smith, director of the Center for Political Studies at Cedarville University. Welcome to both of you. Mark, let's start with you. The president's immigration crackdown. The administration is implementing new tactics. Do you see this as a change in policy altogether, or is this something that might be more temporary?
Yeah, I don't know if I would characterize it as a change in policy. I think certainly what happened in the National Guardsmen in Washington, D.C. has changed their approach to Afghan applications for visas as well as for asylum. And so you can see a little bit of a shift there, perhaps. And ICE has also promised to reconsider all decisions made under the Biden administration previously. I don't know if this is a radical shift necessarily, and I think it probably fits fairly well with what President Trump has done so far. And so it'll be interesting to see how the politics of this might unfold.
Interestingly, yesterday during the cabinet meeting, Kelly, President Trump lashed out against Somali immigrants, saying that he doesn't want them in our country. ICE is said to be planning an operation in Minneapolis, as we mentioned, big home to Somali immigrants. What are we expecting to hear from there, Kelly?
Well, John, a lot of people in Minneapolis and Minnesota are actually speaking out against the president in terms of what he had to say. The president didn't mince any words about his view of Somali's people living in America. He expressed disdain for the country of Somalia and its people living here in Minnesota. Here's a little bit of what he said during his cabinet meeting.
Their country stinks, and we don't want them in our country. I could say that about other countries, too. I can say it about other countries, too. We don't want them to hell. We have to rebuild our country.
And the president doubled down, John, even going so far as to call Representative Ilhan Omar, who represents Minnesota and is also someone who is familiar with Somalia because that's her birthplace. He went on to call her garbage and explained that he did not like her politics. And with that, she has received some defense from House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries as of today, stating the president was out of line to do that. And of course, officials in Minnesota are standing up for the Somalian citizens, saying they are respectful of the laws of this country. But the president making it clear that he does not want Somali citizens living here.
Kelly, can you talk to us at all about maybe has Representative Ilhan Omar made a response to President Trump's calling her garbage?
So look, the feud between these two goes all the way back to when he served in his first term, when she made some disparaging comments about Jewish people, and the president taking exception to that and calling her out on it, and basically stating that members of Congress should have called her out for the things that she said that had been disparaging about Israeli citizens and Jewish people. The feud right now seems to be heightening with Ilhan Omar dismissing what the president has had to say about her. We'll continue to see how this plays out. The president is not afraid of calling people out, as we know.
Absolutely not. Kelly, while we have you, I want to talk to you about the high-stakes talks about the future of the Ukraine war. Finally, some word after the U.S.-Russia talks this week. A Putin aide saying that the meeting was useful and talks will continue. Still, though, this doesn't seem to be going anywhere fast. What do we know about what the sticking points are?
John, the biggest sticking point in all of these talks is Vladimir Putin himself. The Russian president continues to double down on playing a game with NATO, as well as playing a game with Ukraine and even the United States. The president going so far as to stating that what's going on between Russia and Ukraine is just a mess, his words exactly. And how does he deal with that mess? How does he clean it up? Well, NATO's Secretary General Mark Rutte says that President Trump is, for the time being, is the only man who can actually break through this thaw that's going on and trying to bring people to the table to have peace. He believes that President Trump has to be in the lead and says that the president has been in the lead since February, bringing the United States and its talent in terms of diplomacy to the table. But Vladimir Putin seems to be the sticking point in all of this and remains so. And until Vladimir Putin changes, it appears, John, that the future between Ukraine and Russia having any sense of normalcy and getting out of warfare really rest in the hands of Vladimir Putin. I'm sure President Trump, as he stated, so willingly, is not happy about that.
I don't disagree with you there at all, Kelly. Back to domestic politics. We had a win for the GOP in the special election in Tennessee last night. Mark, so if they won, why are Republicans seemingly so worried? Help us make sense of the politics of this heading into the midterm election cycle next year.
Sure. This is from Tennessee's 7th Congressional District, which has been a pretty historically safe Republican district. So in 2024, Donald Trump won that district by 22 points. And yesterday, the Republican candidate Von Epps actually won it by 9 over Afton Ben, the Democratic challenger. And so it suggests there's a pretty big diminishing, perhaps, of Republican support. Now, Republicans are fretting a little bit about it, and you can understand why. Midterm elections are historically bad for the president's party. In the past 22 midterm elections, 20 of them have seen presidential party losses. And the president's approval rating right now is struggling as well. And that's usually a pretty good correlation with how the party might do. And so if things are in next fall the way they are right now, I think we'd expect the Republicans to take a bit of a beating. But of course, it's hard to tell. You know, there's an eternity between now and then. So we'll have to see what actually happens.
Kelly, final word to you. White House response to last night's election win?
The president actually praises the win and says that it's a good win for Republicans. And in terms of Von Epps, who went on to win by those 9 points, he says that he's stuck with President Trump, will continue to stand with President Trump now that he's elected. And he believes that the way forward for the midterms is for all Republicans to work together and stand by President Donald Trump, at least while they have him. In terms of being able to influence voters to get to the polls and vote for Republicans. But the midterms, as Mark says, will be very, very hot to watch.
We will all be watching indeed. Kelly Wright and Mark Caleb Smith, thank you so much for your time tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.